Hello there and welcome back to War Thunder. Today I want to just present you the VS-10 in some sort of first impressions video. I have some really entertaining and action-tense gameplay for you in this vessel, and this lies in the nature of it. It is a very fast short-range brawler, but the stock grind is absolutely brutal. Again, I just want to get this out of the system first so that you know what I'm talking about. Look at this. I just researched now 4 modules at battle rating 3.0 and they cost 7,000 RP or 4,200 and 3,700 RP respectively for rank 2 and 1 upgrades, and in the very best battles you just get 2000 RP. And the toolset, the fire protection, and ultimately also the armor piercing incendiary tracer belt are really vital. Now you might say, okay, stock grind, yeah, I know it with tanks, I know it with planes. It's not the same, because look at this service record. We go here to this. It took me 25 battles in a tier 2 battle rating 3.0 vessel, where I was nearly achieving a 2.0 KD, where I captured a lot, where I tried my very best, dished out the punished the enemy patrol boats, captured a lot of points with a premium account, and that just gained me after 25 battles 4 modules. 4, and I cannot tell you how often I just burned down or I was simply dead in the water, being unable to repair my engines. So that is the stock grind, and it hits this ship really hard. Now it hits other ships as well very hard, but this one in particular. And one of the reasons is how this thing takes damage, because of this rather unique feature, which is a hydrofoil boat. So you see here this, well, wings, I'd nearly say, and they actually allow the ship to be raised above the waterline with the main keel, and then just reach the amazing speed of 95 kilometers an hour. 95. A fully upgraded LS class reaches not even 80 kilometers an hour, quote unquote, not even. And that's already a very fast, very little ambush ship. But this one is stock, reaching 95 kilometers an hour. The Americans have also something similar, the PGH-2, but it has a different weapon system. Let's not talk about this at the moment. Back to the VS-10. Now, the one thing that you need to know about it taking damage, when it lifts out of the water, which you will see later on, then, the keel is exposed. And then you will actually get shot, and a lot of the hits will be on the actual waterline or below. And then when your engines get hit, you drop below the lifting speed, and then you flood incredibly fast. So in comparison to other ships, you really need to look for the buoyancy. You need to look out for how much flooding you take, how fast you take it, and prioritize your repair. So this is a very important aspect to point out. Another aspect is this ship is very fast due to 4 engines. However, they are doubled, so 2 engines for 1 propeller. So even if one side is damaged, you just drop over half your speed. You're down to 20-30 kilometers an hour when one side is just damaged and the other one is even undamaged. If one is black, you definitely drop below 20 kilometers an hour, despite having like half the power output. So this is very strange. Now then we come finally to the armament. First of all, 2 torpedoes, and you have to really aim with them, but they're fast and they are launched instantly. And then we have a very strange arrangement of the 15mm MG151-15 turrets, 6 of them, 3 in the front and 2 in the back, 1 here in the middle. And in most cases you can just bring 3 of them to bear, but there are very narrow firing angles where you actually can bring all 6 to bear on an enemy patrol boat. And I tell you, while the LS with the single one has a lot of problems dealing with an enemy patrol boat. The sheer fire output, the sheer DPS or DPM of them is just amazing versus other patrol boats, and you just can mow down them in quite the same fashion than an LS, the LCS from the Americans with the 40mm Bofors can chop them, but you're limited in your fire time because of the overheat, of course. And so again, a lot of management has to be used. Another thing is, forward the firing angles are not that bad, and you have to turn into the enemy, so you actually can bring this turret to bear and also this one, so you fire at the enemy with up to 5, in the best scenario 6 turrets, but in the majority of cases 4 are the best that you can get out of this ship, and you just can mow down the crew quite easily. And in this case versus another patrol boat in the very same fashion, build-wise without armor, you have a lot of good things going for you, but mostly as a short-range brawler. Very important to point this out. So against AFD 1s and 3s versus SF40s, leichte and schwere, and especially the LCS, you have a lot of problems because the 15mm just don't have the punch to punch through the armor, to take out the modules like the enemy guns, to silence the enemy and then chop them apart. What you have to do is to play chasey, kissy, catchy around a rock. You know, insert rock waifu memes here, I guess. And then just rush them and shove that torpedo up their throat or down their throat. And this is really the only way where you can make this ship work against the previously mentioned ships. Again, it requires a playstyle of reaching for the far cap, capturing it, giving your team the advantage in the capture zone battle, and then trying to ambush ships, trying to shoot at enemies that are occupied or preoccupied with fighting some of your ships, making the best use out of the torpedoes. And now I have some gameplay for you in multiple battles where I just show you the best of the best. This ship, for the first or for an unexperienced user, well, it's basically nothing for newbies or new players or players that have no experience with the 15mm guns and you know how to make the most out of your maneuvering capabilities. Again, the stock grind in terms of maneuvering, if you go into a 90-degree turn, you lose over a third of your speed. In a straight line, it is unprecedented speed so far in the game. Again, with the exception of the American PGH2. And yeah, without further ado, let's hop into some gameplay. Let's see what this thing can do. So the first thing is about the buoyancy and the way that you take damage. So you could see how the ship was floating in the seas, and there is now an S100, and I have here a bit of a problem at even medium range to get damage in. But thanks to the fragility of other patrol boats with basically no armor, even the 15mm can deal damage. And now we are a bit at shorter range, and his 30mm deals a great damage and actually then destroys or damages my engine. They slow down a lot. Now one is completely out, and look how my buoyancy gets faster and faster the more I actually go down in the waterline. That is exactly what I was talking about. So I have no fire prevention equipment here, and now it really rushes down. And look at this, 5, 2, 1, 0% buoyancy. I actually just nailed it. And I actually, well, settled the ship on ground, as it seems, partially. And I actually can recover. Slowly, but I actually will recover. So 0% buoyancy. That is, well, a bit below the comfort zone. And there you can see the great damage output of those many 15mm guns. A single one, you know, with the inaccuracy, how the ship just rolls around in the seas. You just cannot really rely on a single 15mm gun, especially with the overheating issues. But with more of them, you just have a lot more shells in the air. And the combination of armor piercing and high explosive just deals the damage. I mean, look at this. If I am at close range, I just could deal so much easier with the enemy. And he just manages to get away with 6% crew. Now we are up to 80% buoyancy again. And we just managed to avoid the island. I think it is quite hilarious on the beach how the waves are going above you. But that's just a nice side effect. So look at the damage that I've taken, look at the amount of crew that I have. It's not a lot left, and guess what happens next? Yes, patrol boat, another S-100 I guess. And we just mow from the stern to the bow and just kill him very, very easily. And then out of all the things, a plane that I managed to hit multiple times, but it doesn't take any damage. Yeah. Then we have here a very, very brutal 6-kill run that I just want to show you. Now, it is always the question if you get the jump on the enemy. That is the critical part. You can gun down one, you can gun down a second one, but you need time to maneuver, you need room to maneuver, you need just a bit more than the majority of maps offers you. And even then it's not guaranteed. Oh god. Yep, that's an LS, but it's just the 20mm autogunners. There you can see, despite multiple hits, I didn't do any damage to the top-mounted 40mm gun. And so I hide behind the island and again make this rock my best friend. A friend with benefits because it's hard cover. What? That is your best friend in War Thunder at least. And so we're just carefully looking around the rock, what's there, and let's see what we can do. So you can see we can't damage the LS, but even a big burst makes the front section just yellow, and that's just not good enough. So we reverse, and then luckily a second rock actually, well, gets in the way of the LS, and so we at least managed to avoid this. But what is now my overall speed worth? Not that much. And especially when you're stuck, the deacceleration or the braking and the acceleration just takes so long and you're so unmaneuverable. Look at this. It just doesn't feel natural. This is stock run for you, so this is very, very painful for ships that rely on speed. So it's equivalent to, I guess, tanks, where a lot of the light tanks or the fast medium tanks just have a painful experience if they really rely on that speed, such as the Leopard series or something equivalent like the Walker Bulldog. When they're stock, they're just very, very sluggish. And so is this ship very, very fast in a straight line. But in the maneuvering, the turning circle is very large. The acceleration and braking is very, very bad. But at least when you're in this position, now I could bring at least 5 turrets to bear and just look at how much damage this guy take. Yeah. So now I think that's enough, you know, rock humping. Let's just make an attack. Let's make an attack run. Let's hope for the best. And let's see what we can do. Let's hopefully make a bit of a difference. We might just appear from an unexpected direction. Let's hope we face nothing but enemy patrol boats one after one. Of course it's an AFD. But funnily enough, versus them, you can take out their guns. And so once I launched the left-handed torpedo, I continued to take out the armament. But even the single shot 37mm deals great damage. And now I try to get in front of him. Of course I get set on fire, and that is due to a second ship. Now I noticed him, and at least I want to take this guy with me. And frontally, yeah, even that with the armor piercing, you just deal a lot of damage, while the torpedo actually hits the AFD-3, and this guy just didn't have the DPM, but we just can chop through his ship like there is no tomorrow, and chop him apart, rip him apart, crew knockout. That looks awesome. That was a highlight of playing this ship within those 25 battles. And the problem is now I'm on fire, but there is nothing that I can do. The only thing that is kind of left alive are my engines currently, and the bridge section, which by some miracle hasn't been hit hard. So I still have a few % of crews left. So next engagement coming up, and it is an S-100 looking like it's standing still, and I fire a little bit behind him, you know, taking the momentum of my own ship into account, and we can see we didn't really hit him properly with many shells, but even that was enough to let him go down to 67% of crew. Now I adjust my aim, one of my engines is damaged, I slow down immensely, and let's see if we can get him before he gets behind the rock. Can we get him? Yes! The shells actually floating in the air for a surprising amount of time, and we could loop them above the rock. So is there another ship coming up? Come on, come on. Can I kill somebody else? Oh, hello sir. How's your day? Nice weather, with a slight chance of bullet rain. Yeah, the PT boats, they just really don't fare that well. And out of all the things that kill me, it's actually an artillery strike from an LS. So that was quite intense. Can we do that faster? Yes, we can. So this other scene here is again one of those, well, very hard rushes that I actually don't recommend if you want to survive, but sometimes you're forced to do so. You pick the wrong spawn, you have a overall bad map design, and the enemy just has nothing but, well, some of the big hitters there, right? So I actually couldn't make out what it was, and before I could see it, I took a little bit of damage, but nothing too serious, before the enemy disappeared behind the rock. So I think to myself, well, screw it, let's go into A and let's see what we can do. Some of those ways how I play my ships is try and error. And then we see something very slowly. And we just try to hit it with 2 guns. And again, versus the small vessels, the DPM is great. But you have a lot of spread. That spread works in your favor and in your disfavor overall. So I decided here to actually reverse, and with the last shells in the air, we actually take out the PT-6, which is also one of the more popular vessels. But I have just seen a handful of this VS-10s overall, and they were really fragile when I was shooting at them. So I'm not quite sure what the enemies are doing. Sometimes they're just not shooting in time at me, and again that helps me in getting the jump on them. So now I try to get slowly into the capture zone, and we see an S-100, and we just go again from the bow to the stern, and then to the bow again and take him out. And of course we burn. The engines are, well, in the front of the ship, and if they get hit, they very often burn together with the fuel tanks, and that is kind of annoying. So again, so much for the stock grind. It took me, well, 20 battles to just get to the fire extinguishing stuff, and now we have another candidate. Bit difficult to find the, well, right angle, and he's down to 10%, and he turns in the opposite direction. Bad thing to do, bad thing. Now I have a good shot at him, and I take him out. Phew, and I actually captured A. So, yeah. That's intense. Oh, we have another candidate. Oh, look at this. And this is why armor piercing is so important to have in your shells. You just not damage the sections and make them black and kill the crew, but you also go way deeper into the ship and just take out all the stuff like the engines and internal modules in general, to have then in the long run also an easier job at hitting the enemy. Of course a ground, and then at the very end it's of course an LCS. And he has a very easy job with his 40mm if he chooses to use it. And you can see the 40mm mounting takes no damage whatsoever. So this is here now a beautiful night battle, and it's actually one of the battles that had everything in it, from being patient, capturing the capture zones, supporting your team, holding the fire, opening fire at the right moment, and also rushing an enemy and taking him out with a torpedo. So this battle takes a bit longer than the previous scenes, but at least I survive it from the start to finish. Now one thing that I really have to point out here is how beautiful night battles look. They might not be the best for everybody to enjoy in terms of raw gameplay, but from a eye candy perspective, let's put it that way, it is certainly really beautiful. So I see here the enemy vessel, I mark him, and I just don't open fire. I don't want to give my position away, because you can see traces even better at night than in the day, and if somebody wants to rush me, he might not have an idea that I'm there. Now I'm opening a little bit up, we hit him with the first salvo, and that guarantees us the enemy kill assist. I really couldn't hold my fire. The trigger finger was itching a little bit. One thing that is really stupid is if you then select your torpedo tubes and you just randomly click, for me it's X or pressing the mouse wheel, you just mark random enemies, and even if you don't get the gray box, oh that is a beautiful sight, isn't it? Then your torpedo indicator has another gray lead indicator, and that then even gives you the position away of enemy ships that you even have not marked. And of course I used this exploit in some battles. It doesn't give you a massive advantage. If you're in a bad vessel versus a very good vessel, then it doesn't make the world's greatest difference, but it is something worth mentioning. So again, what did I do here? I actually went for the far cap, the sea capture zone, because I actually have the speed in a straight line. And look at this, hard turn with full ahead, and we go down to 53 kilometers an hour. And that's nearly half of the actual straight line speed. And this is with the stock vessel. Actually, the acceleration in a straight line is so good that you ran against the 95 kilometers an hour speed limiter, and you think, well, I could accelerate a bit more, but for some bizarre reason now it's not accelerating anymore. So it's an artificial speed limit, at least it feels like this. I cannot wait to get this vessel fully upgraded, but yeah, I think with all the little income and the many battles it takes, that will be quite a challenge. So as you can see, I'm just using here the stock belt because I think it is the best up until the point that you have reached the armor-piercing incendiary belt, which I think is a bit better at dealing with the majority of enemy ships. So far, nothing happened, and to be honest, from a perfect gameplay perspective, this is a good thing and a bad thing. It's a good thing for you because you are the unknown factor for the enemy team. You can appear from any direction. You can take on enemy ships that are preoccupied with some of your team members and then decide the outcome of the battle in your team's favor with getting damage done, getting kills assists, and that without receiving damage in return. So I think it is a bit weird where this vessel stands, because for a good player this is certainly something awesome. Look at this scene. So this is, I don't know what it is, but I'm just shooting it. I have my problems getting guns on target. I'm now getting shot by multiple vessels. I have better firing angles at dealing with this one, and he takes insane damage and actually dies before, well, I die. The other one doesn't shoot at me. I have no idea why. and I can really do a lot of damage to him and take him out. So those PT6s, they just fall to my firepower, but you can see the insane spread. And that's not because of the, you know, guns being stock. You actually cannot upgrade them currently. But this is just the nature of the 15mm guns. Again, well, I have no fire extinguishing equipment, and I put it to use instantly. So it reduces the loss of true, and I can actually retain proper combat fighting status. Now we have another AFD, and let's see what we can do to him. So you see, I tried to shoot at him with short bursts, but because of him having armor and him being away at long range, he doesn't really take that much damage, but I try my best. Now I go for the bow section because he's down to 22% true, and I need to help my team. So the amount of green Borg tracers just indicate one thing. There is an SF-40 Leichte. Yeah, and he just killed one of our PT boats. And that needs a very cold-blooded, calculated attack run. Let's see what we can do about him. And it's just at very short ranges that you actually feel the armor piercing effect versus even thin armor on enemy ships, as we will see just in a moment. So behind me, B gets now recaptured, but I have committed to this attack. I mean, I could turn around, but I need to deal with this SF. Now I get the hitbox and the lead indicator. I turn a little bit more in, launch the torpedo. He doesn't fire immediately at me, and when he does, I decide to take one out immediately, and the second one, that increases my survivability up until the point that the torpedo hits, and we take him out. That was very important. He probably spent the entire match trying to get here, and this is the massive speed difference within the German tech tree. And we just casually kill another PT6. So I'm actually spawn camping, but look where I am. I'm right next to the capture zone. So yeah, so much for the map design. Yeah. And look at this, how slow I am. Now the engine is repaired and boom, we accelerate like crazy. So again, the ratio of power to acceleration or top speed is not linear, or it's not even something like you have half the speed, you have half the power, so you just have I don't know, 60 or 70% of the speed according to cars top speed, or you know, plane top speed. The air resistance is has a very distinct mathematical formula, and so it's so disturbing when one of your engines is knocked out, or let's say half of your engines is knocked out, that you just don't move anymore. You are bound to be at the speed of an SF-40 or something like this. And this is really annoying and disturbing. I mean, it's clear that you now no longer can reach your top speed, and that you have other issues, but that you are that slow, that's incredible. So I try to now help in capturing B, you know, getting my prize for all the work that I've done. And again, the night is beautiful. You have to give it to that. What they did here with this Arabian Sea map, I'm in love with the look of the map. Not so much the island layout and the capture zone layout and the overall small size, but visually, eye candy wise, again, it's second to none. I mean, I just want to just jump out of the water and just have a bath in this fantastic looking water. It is really amazing. I love it. And we actually get a survivor medal. So those were, of course, the candy parts from the 25 battles that I played. But overall, if you come across a capable AFD player or SF-40 player, something like this, you're toast. Here, credit income, 42,000 civil lines and just under 2,000 vehicle research points, and just 1,470 for the modifications, for 5 kills and 2 kill assists and 2 capture zones. The income is so broken, you know, game after game after game, that it takes 25 battles to get 4 upgrades that you have played very well, at least I have. And at battle rating 3.0, it's broken. Gaijin needs to triple to quadruple the income so that it is really worth playing, in my opinion. So now I think, what do I think about this ship? Well, it's a very unique experience. I like to play it, but I don't like to run into certain enemies that I just have a lot of difficulties dealing with. But if it works, it's really deeply satisfying to play with this vessel. I think once the open beta starts, this is one of the ships that I might go for first. So finally, that's it for me. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know in the comment section what you think about the playstyle, the map design, the ship's performance overall, my presentation. Let me know. And as usual, we'll see each other on the waves of War Thunder.